tried to log in from a separate thing.
And it didn't work?
No, it made this horrible noise. I did it before you got on there so I wouldn't hurt your ears. So I'm just going to pop over here. I don't even know if you'll see me, but we'll go with this. Is that good? I got a good work area?
Yeah, perfect.
So we're going to do bees today, guys. We're doing Bee-U-Tiful because I thought that would be fun on a nice, fun, sunshiny Tuesday. So we're going to do a couple of things in your coffee shop today. Let's make sure you can see these. I have 3 templates, royal icing templates uploaded for you. This is my large bee template. I have a couple started so I can show you how to do the coloring, and then I'm going to show you how to pipe a few of these. We've got small bees because you need really both sizes depending on what kind of cookies you're working on. When you do a small bee like this, you can put more than one on the cookie. So that's kind of fun if you want to have multiple things in there. And then I made you this cute little beehive. So I'm going to show you that. And one of the things I'm going to show you on there, I'm going to lift it so you can see it right now. But can you see all the dimension that we got? I'm going to show you how to do some pressure piping with this to get those lines just from piping, not going back and disturbing it afterwards. But, you know, the beehives like that, they always have those itty bitty ridges. So it's going to matter what consistency your royal icing is. So we're going to jump in with that first. But just so you know where we're headed, I also just have a generic plaque shaped cookie iced, and it's dry because we're going to do a little bit of airbrushing on this. Just a little bit, just for some fun. And I do have a mini beehive cookie already done and hardened so that I can show you how to attach the bees and do some fun drawing directly on the cookie. Supply list and 3 templates is listed today in the coffee shop. So those are available. I did put a charge on my coffee shop thing today because of the 3 transfers, and also because it's the time of the month where I need to pay for some of the stuff for streaming. So I just needed to generate a little bit today to get everything covered for the month. Okay. This is my 6x6 format. So when you see the supply list, you're going to see some heavyweight cardstock in there. I do these in a 6x6. I also linked the 6.5 by 6.5 food safe cello bags because what I like to do when I have to do a lot of these is I have a piece of cake board in the back, a little piece of grease-proof cake board, and I pop it in, my template's in there. And then what I do is I leave the cake board piece in. Let me show you what that looks like. So I leave this in, but I pull my transfer out and just take it to the next bag. That way I don't have to print a whole bunch of these transfers. Okay. So if you're wondering about that, I think we've gone over that in a couple of demos before, but let's pop right in. I want to show you something I tried today from one of Marlon's videos. And Marlon, I meant to ask you before we started which one of the videos they can go back and watch. But do you see on this cookie where I rounded it? So the whole, on one half of the cookie, it's rounded down. So I put the press and seal over it and then cut the cookie. I think we did it back at Easter time to get a more rounded 3D effect on our eggs. Was that the video?
I don't recall.
So you can actually see the difference in looking at this though. So right, this is a normal side, and then this is the slightly rounded side. So if you want to get a little bit more dimension, it worked great on this. And I definitely will be doing it again. I really like how it looks, but just another little trick from one of Mar's previous videos for you. Okay. All right. So
I have there's a turtle. You can see it done with the turtle. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I remember seeing that one too. I remember the Easter one though, how you did the eggs, and I really liked that. And I have a couple of things linked for you in your supply list in case you want to do assorted bee sets. So this is the cutter that is linked by itself. It's an Ann Clark. It's a rather large cookie. So obviously you wouldn't want to do your whole set in this, but then if you do the other set that's linked there, you're going to get a variety of sizes. So you'll have different things. You got little flowers, little bees, but today we're just going to stick with the beehives just for the sake of time. So, you know, I like to sketch on cookies to help you guys figure out where you're going to ice before you get started. One of the things that I like on my little cookie that I finished for you, do you see how I have the black done? So we just did the black on the cookie. So just find the area that you want to have that little opening for your beehive. We're going to fill that in with some black icing and then take that icing off because we want it to be lower than the rest of the profile of our cookie. And then we're finding our natural break points where the cutter is set up, and we're doing a slight curve. That'll give us a little more dimension to our cookie, in addition to the fact that we shaped it by using that press and seal trick to get it a little more rounded. So you would just mark your cookie off like this so that you could then decide to do your alternating sections, right? So we would do all of these sections, let it dry, and then come back and do these sections. So I'm going to show you that really quickly on this smaller cookie, just for the sake of time, how that would look. And I'm using gold. I'm just using gold by Hobby Lobby today. I really like that color when you're doing anything bee related. It just seems to be the perfect shade. So guys, I'm just going in and I'm doing a quick, this is the same consistency icing. It's outlined and flood together. So probably 20-second. And beehives are great because it doesn't have to look perfect.
Exactly.
This is definitely a good starter cookie, right?
Perfection. Is that a bib?
This can be a bib, but it actually is in that set of cutters that I posted with the beehive. But look how easily you can turn that into a cookie flip.
Yeah, it looks like a bib to me.
To me too. That's what I saw, but it came in the pack of the other ones. And I was like, oh, well, good. I have something else to add to my baby set. I like it when I can use cutters for more than one thing. Now, this one, guys, I'm not doing that little black part. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, although we're not going to fully ice that cookie for the sake of time today. And plus, I talked enough on Sunday that I don't think you need to hear my voice that much today.
Can they watch the replay to that on?
Oh, yeah, it's on there. And thank you guys for everybody that came to that, because that video is doing great. If you have any questions, if you missed that on Sunday night, the Frosting Creators of San Antonio show, if you missed it, all the videos are in their group. You can still join that group for free to see it. And I'd love for you to watch the video. If you have questions, you guys know I'll come in and answer them at any time. So do you see how we did the alternating sections, right? All right, I'm going to slide this off to the side. Let's pull the baby. Let's do this one real quick, just because I want to make sure you understand about the black. We don't want the black to look like it's the same level as the rest of the cookie. So a little tiny bit of black icing, and then take a boo-boo stick. You can take the tip of a spatula. You can take a scraper that you would use for stenciling, and you basically just kind of want to mush that around that area. Okay, you just want to knock that color off, and you want it to be low profile. So we want that to be as flat as possible when we go back. And then
why don't we ask them if their favorite pun that could be attached to the bee set?
The bees, yes. That would be very fun. So like, like be amazing, be awesome, all those, drop something in there. So guys, what I would do is come back and I would flood these sections. I really worry about color bleed when I'm doing a dark color next to light. And what I have found is that by putting white in my base royal icing, it stops a lot of that problem because it acts like a color block. The other thing that I find that's very helpful is to do my colors. If I have a light and a dark next to each other, if it's possible, I like to do them at the same time so that when they dry, one is not going back and taking moisture from the other. That also cuts down on color bleed. So for this particular cookie, if you came back to do it, I would be doing this section immediately while the black is still wet. If the black is dry and then I go back, say tomorrow, and put the yellow on, that black could pull some of the color from the yellow, and then it's more likely to get a little bit of that color bleed. Now, honestly, on a beehive cookie, you're not really going to notice it. It's okay if it looks a little fuzzy. Really, it's supposed to look like shadow anyway. So you get the idea, but it's just a couple helpful tips for you if you're having trouble with your dark colors like red and navy blue, burgundy and black. If you're having trouble with those next to light colors, that's just a couple quick tips for you. So you see, we would do those sections first. So we would do this section, this section, this section, this section, then let that dry. All right, let's slide that over. We're going to move on to our little, let's do these transfers first. I think we'll do that first, and that way we can move on so we can do all our airbrushing at one time. So I'm going to start with the bee skep.
Did you mention to not do their guidelines in black just in case?
Guidelines. Oh, you mean underneath? I didn't because I don't have trouble with this marker. This is the ones I linked you off Amazon. It's just, it looks like this. This one, the color hasn't worn off. I don't have trouble with that, but let me tell you this. I'm only using black on camera so that it shows up well. If I were doing this cookie, like I needed to mark a bunch of them and then either myself or set somebody else down to start flooding and outlining, it would be in yellow. I typically do that with yellow and I don't have any trouble with that. But definitely if that is a problem for you or you're using a marker that you find causes color bleed once you add color on top, stay away from the black for that part of the project. Now, keeping in mind what we just talked about for the cookie, about how we want to do alternating sections, this is a really thick consistency icing. This is probably 30-35 seconds. I would not do these on, obviously your royal icing transfers need to be done a day ahead, but I would knock all of those out so your hand has a little bit of time to recover. I made this a little bit thicker than normal because I wanted to get those cool little ridges. So here's a finished one. Let me lift it up for you to see. So can you see the detail?
Go down a bit. I think you're too close.
Too close? How's that? Is that showing?
Camera's focusing on your bees.
All right. Well, let's do it on the sheet and we'll lift the sheet. It might also be that I put some new lighting in here over the weekend, so it's super bright. Everything's very shiny.
So now they're talking donuts in the comments, Amy. They know your favorite donuts. They're talking donuts.
Do you have a favorite donut, Mar?
I have to say, I always get the bear paw.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, so we're going to go alternating sections. Watch the hand motion so that even if you can't see it on camera, you'll know what I'm talking about when you go to do this. But I am doing it's a very small cut in the tip of the hole, and the icing is super thick, and I'm giving it a little bounce. And what it's doing is making it look like I made 100 little lines, like in the icing, okay? So on this one, I'm showing you how to make this one we're going to go back and color the opening. And then I'll show you on the other one how to do it with the actual black in there. Although I like it better by hand coloring it on. So we've done that little section. Oops, my template moved. Hold on just a second. So we've done those 3 little sections. I think you can kind of tell on the finished ones, they're a little more matte in color so you can see it. But it's just do those 3. You're going to let them dry. Then you should be able to come back and immediately fill in the other 3. This one has been drying for over 12 hours. I'm just going to use the brush tip of one of these edible ink black markers. This is also super fast. You can just do a little hole right on there. If you have to do hundreds of these, I would suggest just doing the coloring. It's faster. You're not going to have to wait for it to dry in between. If you want to not use the color marker for some reason, maybe you don't like those, then what you would do is same thing, very thick consistency black icing, and you'll just do these little black areas. I'd do them as a dot, you guys, and just let it go. I wouldn't worry about smearing that out. Just hit it quickly. Let that set up. I would let this, for this purposes of this, I'd let it dry because this is a super thick icing so that you're not transferring a lot of moisture back and forth. But let me just show you what you would do in the area where that little hole is for your bee skep. I'm trying to get this where you can see it on camera. Am I up high enough, Mar?
I mean, you look fine. Okay,
so here I would start on this side and I let the icing attach. I'm doing that pressure piping. When I get close to where the hole is, I want to relax on some of the push to get that wide of a line out and come across that area and then go back to that same pressure to come around it. Because when I do royal icing transfers, I don't pick up a scribe to fix these things. You know, one of the reasons to do them is to get them done ahead of time and move through them fairly quickly. And I'm also making sure as I'm doing around that little area that my icing's going up over that black area, because we do want our whole transfer to be secure. We want to build a nice transfer so that it will pop off easily. So there's a couple of those. This is a finished one. We're going to use this on a cookie in just a minute. Then let's pop over real quick and I'll show you how to do the large bee. It's the same exact bee on the large and the small templates, but I want to show you how to build those. People get very frustrated doing bee royal icing transfers, and most of the time it's because they're not building it to where you have a really secure transfer. Super thick white icing to do my wings. You can work in diamond dust when you're doing the white if you want to. It's not necessary, but this is a good spot to work it in. Okay, we've cut that bag with probably equivalent to a number 3 tip opening, and we're just squeezing, starting our circle, and then we're doing that bounce. We want it to have a little texture to it. Then we're crossing in to the bee body area, okay? Little bit less pressure here because this is supposed to be a little smaller. But this one, when you come in on this wing, you want the wing to attach. You want it to attach to the large wing right here, and then you want it to cross up into this area. If I were doing these, because I was going to use them on cookies, I'd do that whole set of wings on my whole thing before I turned my template. But for the purposes of this, we're going to turn and stay on the same bee. We're going to do the large one. A lot of pressure. We're building that up really puffy so it'll look great on the cookie. Going into the second wing, making sure it fully attaches, and then crossing to the center. So let me lift this so you can see it. You can see that the wings are fully crossed. All 4 of those pieces are touching each other, and because they were all done at the same time, it's really like having one layer, right? It's not 4 separate drying times. So let's move that little one out of the way. Let's pull in our toothpaste consistency.
So Priscilla wants to know, do you put them in the dehydrator?
I don't. When I'm using an icing this thick, I don't find that it's necessary. But if I found that my icing was just a little too wet, I would be concerned about these getting craters. And then, yes, I would definitely pop them in the dehydrator, usually at 105. Now, looking at my bee, guys, I want to have a separate head and separate body, or at least the look of having that, even though these things are joined. So what I typically do is I like to do the body first because the body will come over those wings and connect all of the wings. Then I can go back. If my icing is thick enough, I can immediately go back and add the head and still have separate definition. But then all of these pieces are going down at the same time, so they're going to dry at the same rate. So let me show you how I would do that. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to work from left to right. You do what's easier for you. I start out right on top of the wings, and I'm making just a circular motion with some heavy pressure piping, giving the bee body a little bit of dimension. Then as I get to the bottom, I'm using the fact that when you're pulling out on a thick icing like this, I'm using that to my advantage to leave that little tail. Just cleaning the tip of the bag off. Again, I'm right-handed, so I'm rotating. And then I work up and down. So this will be a little harder to show you, but I start right in the center of that circle, and I'm just doing a bouncing motion to create a circle. So I'm not outlining and then flooding. Okay. I'm using the bouncing motion and the pressure to let gravity do its thing and make my little beehive, my little bee head. So let me lift this so you can see it. Do you see what I mean? So now all of our pieces are joined together. Now I'm going to go back to this one that's dry. I don't like to pipe the black and the yellow and the white. We talked about the color bleeding. That's just how I do it. Lots of ways for you to do it. But let me show you something so easy. With this marker, the edible ink on the black marker, I just come back in. You can kind of see where to do it. I left you guides here. Just come back in and do a little curved motion. And it reads perfectly like a bee. Hit the tip with just a little bit of color. Right now you've got a cute bee body. I did not put antennas on here because I did not want you to mistakenly think you should pipe the antennas. We're going to draw the antennas on the cookie with the edible ink marker. So I'm just going to give him 2 cute little like eyes up here, a little nose and a tiny smile. He doesn't even need the smile if you don't want him to have it. If you want to make him look angry, you can make him look angry. We're going to leave all the facial expressions up to you guys, okay? So you can see once these are totally dry and you come back in and do that, it pops off and you have this super cute, very sturdy transfer. So you can see it's flat. All the pieces are lined up. It's important that it's flat so that you can put it on a finished dried cookie. So let's pop that out of the way. So you've seen the royal icing transferred templates now. I want to skip really quickly. I want to use a little bit of gold diamond dust today because what would it be without some diamond dust? So we're going to use the gold. And I've got my smaller of my airbrush stencil holders. You know, I normally use the one that you can adjust in size, But today what we're going to do, I'm going to pull my turntable into place and cover this with a paper towel. This is just what's easiest for me. All right, so this is roughly, I'm on camera. Let's get in camera frame here. All right, let's pop our cookie on. Let's drop this in. I'm using a warm brown or woodland. Actually, I'm using woodland brown today. I just want to do a nice little highlight. And I'm really hoping this works because of the thing that I did Sunday that I've never done before. Hopefully I won't do it again, as I forgot. And I left my color, even though I had added water to it, I left my color in my airbrush gun. Oh, and you see, I thought I might have a problem today. I have a clog, and I just have the one brush here. So we're going to switch gears. Let me do this a little bit differently. So these came in handy today, Mar. We're going to do this as we're doing a little stamping, which is fine because I knew I was going to have a splotchy airbrush spray today. And we're going to see if this works really quick, okay? I just don't want to stain my hands.
Can I just answer something? So Shirley, yes, you can buy multiple guns and have only one compressor, and there's actually an attachment that you can put to the gun, a quick release. And so you can get a bunch of guns with the quick release and then switch them out, and they actually sell holders so you can line up all your guns and just switch them out. That ideally, though, I think works better with the plug version instead of the wireless compressor.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take that apart and clean it again. I hate cleaning my airbrush gun, but it is what it is.
Try just putting really, really hot water in it for a minute before you resort to the taking apart thing.
Just fill it up? Is that what you're saying?
Hot water, let it soak a little bit, and then, you know.
So I basically have just created a little sponge. I'm not sure this is going to work, but we're on camera, so we're trying to roll with it. This is not typically how you would do this, but I want to see if I can get just a little section of the honeycomb. So it's kind of working. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell exactly what it is, but it's going to give me the shadowing I need. So that's good. I just wanted this to look on this end like I had the honeycomb bits. Let's see. So note to self, bring pink airbrush gun to the house. So this is actually working okay for what I wanted it to do, but this is not what I would recommend doing. I would absolutely be doing this with an airbrush and get my exact little hexagons. Okay, but this is going to give me enough of the blotchy look that I want.
If you don't have an airbrush, she doesn't have any ready, you could always do a swipe with icing too, I guess. Eh?
Yes, I don't have any brown ready. I don't really want to do it in the black. So I'm going to do this. We'll see what that, we could at least get the spots. So that's fine for today. The other thing I was going to show you that I thought was really cute is I like the look of dripping honey. So I'm using my thick icing and I'm just coming back with the same exact gold and I'm going to make little drippies. I'm going to do outline in a really thick consistency. So it looks like it's a piece of oozing honeycomb. I'm going to fill this in with the flood. I do have two consistencies going in the gold. So we're going to do our outline in this consistency and it's the same color. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention to you guys. When you mix up your color, it does look really nice if all your yellows are the same. And especially if you custom blend colors, you want to try to have enough of your base icing to make it thicker or thinner so that everything coordinates. You don't want to have mixed shades of yellow. It's one of the colors that I think looks particularly bad if it's not the same color. If you run out and have to go back and remix. Now, in this case, not going to matter so much because you can come back and you can paint this with some of the Sugar Art Gold that I listed in your sheet, and it makes it beautiful. It's just a nice fun piece. There's edible luster dust that I listed for you. All right, but what I'm going to do is what we were going to do if we airbrush. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a shield down here on my blotchy parts. And we're going to hit this with some, am I still in frame? We're going to hit this part with just a little bit of diamond dust instead of doing the hand painting today. So we get this kind of fun, like sticky, drippy looking There we go. And I'm just going to use a paintbrush. If you get a little too much diamond dust on here and you don't like it, the bottom part of the cookie's dry. You can just come in and actually undust the cookie with your little paintbrush. And this is a food safe Wilton. It's also listed in your supply list. You know, I know half a dozen people are like, oh, I'd just blow that off. But you know what? If you get in the habit of on your own cookies, blowing on a cookie to release that from the cookie, then you're going to do it on somebody's cookies that they purchase, you know. So just try to keep all your habits the same. So when you get stressed or rushed, you do everything the same, right? So you can see we get a fun little drip cookie, right? Now let's quickly pop over because I think we're at 3 minutes after. I want to show you these baby bees attached. Now, remember when we attached real icing transfers, we tried to attach it with the same color so that if it comes out from the bottom, it doesn't make a big noticeable spot. So I'm just going to flip my baby bees over. I'm using that, just a little dab of the yellow is all we need. And I'm going to drop a bee on here. And I'm going to take one of the other ones. And these transfers have been set up for over 12 hours, so it's real easy to handle them. But if you're not comfortable with handling them, or you feel like you break them, it could be that you've made them too fragile, or it could be that you're handling them too soon. So if you're not comfortable with that, try to go your next batch with a little bit thicker royal icing, and then let them dry a little bit longer, because they shouldn't be so fragile that you can't handle them. So now we've got these 3 cute bees that we just made, right? We're going to come back with our fine point end on our edible ink marker. And we're just going to make some cute little like stitching lines. I prefer to do this with the ink because it creates a more fine detail than piping it with a 1-point tip. Also, if you go back and try to pipe these lines with the 1-point tip, you'll find that sometimes when you go to bag those cookies, if it wasn't just attached just right, those little bits will come off, and then that winds up in the bottom of your bag, and it's just not really attractive. So just think about how a bee would fly.
So right? Are those 1/2 inch or quarter?
These little bees, these are 1/2 inch, and then your big bee is a 1 inch. Okay. And then let me show you something really cute we did for Valentine's Day. We went in and we used that little heart stitch, and the little stitch that looks like a sewing stitch, and we made it look like a heart on our bee cookies for Valentine's Day. So if you have a wedding or something to do, just do your heart first, then make your line come up to your heart. Imagine going around your heart, then come back out your heart and make your little flight line go to your bee. So these are real cute for a wedding, right?
Adorable.
So
everybody's loving them, Amy.
This is the only ones that I did for today, but I know that next week I have some others. I have some really cool actual bee-shaped cookies that I wanted to do, because I want to show you some stuff with wafer paper for the wings and white diamond dust, okay?
So you're going to do these next week too?
I'm going to do actual bees instead of just the beehives, if that's okay.
Oh, of course.
Unless they wanted something else. Does anybody want anything else in particular? That was my plan for next week. So you'd have a full set, because bees are real popular in June. Bee cookies are real popular in June. So you have lots of different styles that you can do. This cookie is my favorite one to do for like, if you want to put 2 people's names and do a little love sign. This is a nice size cookie that if you plan the area that you're going to personalize so that you don't have all the ridges to deal with in a normal beehive, this is a great one for that. Like Be Mine at Valentine's Day, this is a great cookie for that. Did I miss any questions? Are we good?
No, everything is
okay.
Good. Fabulous says, love them. Mary Jean, stay on plan, she's saying. She wants to see your bees.
Oh, you want to see the bees. Okay, well, I have a boy bee and a girl bee, and I have 2 favorite cutters, so I'll make sure I list those for you, because they're actually not Ann Clark cutters. I try to give you those so it's easy for you guys to get a hold of. Oh, and the pin. You guys were asking about the pin. It is linked in your supply list. It's just from Amazon. They come in a 3-pack for about $6 or $7, and it's a black edible ink marker. Honestly, this looks just like the ones I get from Chef Master to me, but
yeah. Well, they might be made by the same company. Karen suggested cicadas. I actually looked up a cicada.
It's bad in Virginia, especially up towards the big city.
Oh,
They've been posting pictures. They're coming out.
They're not an easy thing to cookie. I mean, I was looking at them. They're like pretty complex.
And Mara, I meant to tell them, you know, after we had the AliExpress and dollar store thing, I had gotten on there and ordered some things. So I think next week I'll be using these stamps. I'll be using a couple of these stamps. If you want to do bees next week, we'll be using these. Okay.
So get ready.
Yeah. If you want to see some stamping, we'll start.
No, I'm saying get ready. Get your credit cards ready because she's going to be a complete enabler.
I'll put the links in for you too. And I just saw someone say, how do you tell a boy bee from a girl bee? Well, the girl bee has a bow, of course.
Well, you could put the boy a little bow here.
A bow tie right here. Yeah. So fun.
Well, you know, Jeremy, I have to be politically correct.
Complex. But do have your credit cards ready because these were super, you know, I've been so shocked since I've returned back into the stores occasionally. I feel like I'm going back in now a little bit more often since the everybody's getting the vaccine and all that. These stamp sets have doubled in price at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. They're so much more expensive in our stores here. I don't know if you're finding that in Canada yet.
Well, I can't say that I compared, but I don't know what correlation bees have with the corona vaccine, but
no, I mean, I'm just going back into the stores more. And as I'm returning, a set like this would have cost me $7 in Michael's last year. And, or maybe it was Joann's. But they're like $14 now for a set of these stamps. So you guys are really going to be thanking us for your AliExpress connection if things keep going in this direction.
Shayna's saying, be ready for next week.
Be ready. I love it. You guys are great. I'm going to swap my camera real quick.
No lumberjack jokes, right? No lumberjack jokes.
Wait, is Jeremy trying to tell a lumberjack joke?
Well, he's reference to, I guess, Canadians.
Jeremy, you know Mar doesn't like that. All right. So, Mar, what are you going to do next week?
Gosh, you know what? I'm just going to pop my camera on to show you guys, though. Forget about next week. Let's baby steps. So on Wednesday, tomorrow at 1, I'm going to go on Instagram Live. So that's I'm trying it with hand. And so I'm going to be doing these cookies here. What is it? Terrazzo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look like you could do a beautiful mosaic cookie too with that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be demoing this at 1 on Instagram tomorrow. If I live, I might do it again after that. And we'll see. But Instagram is completely different animal than Facebook. Facebook allows for just, you know, a little bit more control of like we can put the videos if we know, like, you know, something not worked out, or have some pictures and backup documents to help you guys. Instagram, it's like really flying by the seat of your pants.
I was going to tell you guys too, I just shifted gears to show you how to do a little bit of that stamping if something happens with your airbrush, which just stop and clean it. But we're on camera and I wanted you to see the overall look of the cookie. But I did want to tell you the reason that I was about to do the airbrushing is before I had put these bees on. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
What I was going to do is use that very faint brown, stay very far away from the cookie. And I was going to give the cookie a little more dimension by highlighting around it and then in between the sections. That's what we were going to do. And then we were going to come to this one and do a nice honeycomb pattern on it. So I will clean the gun and do a little bit of work on these. And I may pop back on tonight sometime and show you some sunflower pops. So if you're around tonight, it's Tuesday night, I might pop on a little bit later this evening and just show you how to make these cool little sunflower pop cookies. Can you see that?
From your demo on Sunday.
I wanted to just do a little more practice and check a few more things out with the program. So I may do that later tonight. I have everything set up for that. So I thought I might just do it live instead of recording it. So if you're around, join me later. I'll send you a text alert. Oh, did we ever put that up for them so they know where to join the text alert?
Oh, no, we didn't.
We should probably put that up.
Oh, wrong thing. There it is.
I saw, yeah, just go to that number and type live stream or sign me up, just something. It'll put you right into the list. And then we try to send the text alert 5 minutes before we start, but my alarm did not go off, so I didn't do it in time today. You got a 2-minute warning today instead of 5. But it's helpful, right? So, because if you're not on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube right when we're going live, then you don't actually see it. So if you haven't set an alarm on your phone, which is great, a lot of you I know have that texting alert will help you.
So there's her templates in the coffee shop today, all the bee goodies. And then
how'd they do in the puns, Mar?
The puns, they're further down in the comments. You'll have to go back and read them. I don't even remember them. I never, that thought, whoops, wrong slide. The thought that left my brain never came back. I mean, I'm full blown, like now my menopause is like, I'm sitting there on the couch having hot flashes. I can't remember my own name. It's like, I'm just a hot mess. So anyway.
I gotcha. That's so fun. Huh?
It's fun. Yeah, it's so fun. So fun. Yay!
Just say not and then make a cookie. Make the cookie that you're going to throw. It'll help relieve a little stress.
I don't know. Is there a menopause cookie?
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Today, I'll figure out what I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know. On Amber's sending me pictures of what she's doing on Friday, and it's going to be really nice. So now I've got the pressure to figure out what I'm going to be doing.
Well, I have my alarm set. I will be there.
You're going to be there here.
I'll be there, and I'll send you guys a text alert. I set my alarm to send you a text alert that Mar was going live with the cookie lunch break on Friday. So I'll send you an alert for that.
Thank you.